In this video, we will learn how to write some Python code to do some analytics for bivariate data where both the variables are quantitative in nature. So the data on which we will do some analytics looks like this. So we have order ID column. So this is not the data column, this is just a label column. Then we have quantity ordered. This is quantitative in nature. And then order amount. So this is also quantitative in nature. Quantity ordered happens to be discrete and order amount happens to be continuous. Okay, so we will perform some analytics on this data, and the name of this data file is bivariate data quant small.csv. And once we have written the code to do some analytics for this data, we will run that code on this data, which has 1,000,000 rows of data. See, 1,000,000 rows of data. Okay, so let's write some code. So step 1 is to read the data file using pandas as a data frame. So we import the pandas library using the alias PD, that's the standard alias for pandas, and then data frame equal to pd dot read underscore csv, and the name of the data file, which is bivariate data quant small.csv. And then let's print the data frame to see what we got. So let's run this. Import pandas, data frame, and print. There you can see it printed the data frame. It printed the 25 rows of data. Okay, so now we can comment out the print because we know it works. Now the data frame has all the columns. So we want to create separate lists. So we want one list for order quantity. So this will be df quantity ordered, and then order amount, and this is df order amount. So these two field names are coming from the data file. See, this is quantity ordered and order amount. So let's print order quantity, and let's print order amount to see if we are getting the correct data. So let's run this, and let's print. Okay, that looks good. And then print order amount. That also looks good. Okay, so now we can comment out these print statements because we've tested them. So in step 2, we will create a scatter plot with order quantity as the independent variable and order amount as the dependent variable. So we want to import matplotlib library and then the pyplot module as plt. And we'll have plt figure fix size equal to 8,6. plt.scatter, and then we provide the x-axis variable first, which is order quantity, and then the y variable order amount, plt.show. Okay, so let's run this. Import, yes. Okay, there's my scatter plot. And we can now add the title, plt.title, scatter plot of quantity ordered and order amount. And we can put the x label, plt.x label, quantity ordered, and plt.y label, order amount. Okay, let's run all of this again. And we see the title and the x-axis label and the y-axis label. Okay. Next, we want to create a regression line on this plot. But for that, we have to run regression, linear regression. So next we will learn how to run a linear regression model in Python for this data. And once we have run that model, we will have a regression line, and then we will plot the regression line on this scatter plot. So step 3 is run a linear regression model with order quantity as independent variable and order amount as the dependent variable. Okay, so for this we will need to import a linear regression function from a library called sklearn. From sklearn dot linear model import linear regression. Okay. Now this linear regression function needs the arrays, the data arrays, as numpy arrays. So we will have to do an extra step. We will say import numpy as np, and we will transform our data, our order quantity as numpy array order quantity. So we've translated our original array quantity data. So we have transformed order quantity as an numpy array. Similarly, order amount as numpy array order amount. Now we have to do one more step for the independent variable. We have to reshape this array. This is just how sklearn functions like the data to be. So quantity reshaped, okay, rs equal to order quantity dot reshape -1, 1. Now don't ask me why the -1, but the 1 at the end is because it's one column, just one column of data. Okay, so we will use this reshaped array as the input or the independent variable, and this order amount as the dependent variable. So we are ready to do our regression model. So regression model, what kind of model it is? It is a linear regression model, linear regression. So reg model, we have to fit this model with the data. Which data? Order quantity, the reshaped data, and the order amount. So we've written quite a bit of code. Let's run it to see if it works. So this line of code is new, so we will run that. Okay, ran fine. Okay, this ran fine, this ran fine, this ran fine, this ran fine, this is fine, and this is a critical one. This is where we actually create the model by fitting the data in the model. Okay, this also ran fine. Okay, so we have the model. So in a regression model, we have the slope and the intercept. So the slope, what's the slope? It's a regression model dot coefficient underscore. That's just the name of the coefficient variable. And then we have the intercept. That's the regression model dot intercept underscore. Okay, so we can print our model. We can say print format regression model, and then order amount equal to the intercept. So that's a variable, so within curly braces, intercept plus the slope times quantity ordered. Okay, so let's run this line of code, slope equal to, okay, intercept equal to, and then let's print it. There's a printout regression model, order amount equal to 94.113 plus 212.16 multiplied by quantity ordered. Okay, so that's our regression model. So now, how do we draw the regression line? So we have the model. So for each value of x, we will have to compute the predicted value of y. So order amount predicted equal to the regression model dot predict, and then we want to use the independent variable order quantity reshaped. Okay, so this, if you run this, it has the predicted values. So let's print the predicted values. Order amount predicted. Okay. Okay, so those are the predicted values of order amount for these order quantities. So now that we have these predicted values, we can now plot the regression line. So we've already imported PLT. So if you do PLT plot, on the x-axis I have quantity ordered reshaped, comma, order amount predicted, PLT.show. So that's a regression model, but what we really want to do is draw this model on top of the scatter plot. So we'll have to recreate the scatter plot. So what we'll do is we will copy and paste the code for scatter plot and insert, after the scatter we will insert the line, and we don't need another plt.show. Okay, so we are redrawing the scatter plot, and just so this will draw the scatter plot, and on top of that it will put this regression line. Okay, so let's run this. There. So that's the scatter plot, and the regression line runs through the scatter plot, and it's the best fit line. Okay, and if you want to know what's the r-square value for the regression model, so we have the regression model, but we also need the r-square value. So the r-square value is the regression model dot score. So score is the r-square value, and we'll provide the order quantity reshape, comma, order amount, and then we can print r-square value equal to r-square. Okay, so let's run this line of code. Okay, so the r-square value is 0.354954. Okay, so that's how we do some analytics with the bivariate data, where both the variables are quantitative in nature. So now that we have the code, we can run it on a larger data file. Just change the data file name, and the rest of the code stays the same. So now we will run it on medium, which has 1 million records. So with medium, which has 1 million records, let's run the first part where we are reading the data file and we are creating a scatter plot. Let's run this part. Okay, it ran. So this is the scatter plot. So we see it looks like straight lines, looks like a bar chart, but it's really a scatter plot, because this vertical line is really hundreds and thousands of data points, because there's so many orders for quantity ordered 5, so many for quantity ordered 6, and so on, that we have a scatter plot that looks like it's a bar chart. It's really lots of points here. And since quantity ordered is discrete, we don't have any points in the middle here. Okay. So next we will run a regression model and we'll print the regression model. So that's the regression model. Order amount equal to 0.2573 plus 249.65 times quantity ordered. Then we'll do the predicted values. Okay, we will not print the predicted amounts because we have a million of them. And now we will redraw the scatter plot along with the regression line and then see how that looks. There. To make the regression line look different, what we can also do is say color equal to R for red. So let's draw this again. There's a regression line in red. And then let's compute the R square value and print the R square value, 0.499, almost 0.5. Okay, so that's how we do some analytics on bivariate data where both the variables are quantitative in nature. So that's the end of this tutorial.